2016 Cocoa Beach High School Veterans Day Ceremony. I'm Cadet Lieutenant Colonel Corinne Britton, the Minuteman Corps Battalion Commander. It is a distinct privilege for the JROTC Battalion, the Corps of Cadets, and our Cocoa Beach staff and leaders to present this program to you today. I would like to introduce the principal of Cocoa Beach Junior Senior High School, Dr. Carol Green.
Junior Senior High School yearly salute to our local veterans and remembrance of all those veterans around the nation. I would like to especially welcome each veteran who is with us here today. We are honored by your presence, your service, and your sacrifices for us and for our country. Thank you also to our guests who have taken their time to share in the recognitions of veterans. Today's ceremony continues a proud tradition here at Cocoa Beach Junior Senior High School, as we take time to not only honor our veterans, but remind all of us of the importance of Veterans Day. This morning's presentation includes our own JROTC unit under the command of Lieutenant Colonel James Desjardins and First Sergeant Alex Freeze, our Minutemen Band, our Minutemen Choir, and our Roosevelt Choir. At this time, I would like to remind all students that electronic devices should be turned off and out of sight. All other guests, please take this opportunity to silence your cell phones. At this time, I will turn the program's events over to our JROTC unit.
Would everyone please stand for the presentation of the colors by the Army JROTC Color Guard and the playing of the national anthem by Cadet Alex Freeze. Today's Color Guard members are led by the Color Guard Commander, Sergeant First Class Seth Ederstrom. Other members include Cadet Sergeant Jared Peterman, Cadet Staff Sergeant Peyton Doyle, and Cadet Second Lieutenant John Stotts. You'll be asked to remain standing while our cadets recite the Cadet Creed, led by Cadet Years, Cadet Sergeant Brittany Stanley. Please stand at this time. Ladies and gentlemen, please take your seats. It is my honor to introduce the Roosevelt Chorus led by Mrs. Lucia. The Roosevelt Chorus will perform God Bless the USA.
distinguished visitors, I'm honored to welcome you to this morning's Cocoa Beach High School salute to our nation's veterans. We would all like to thank our invited guests for taking time from their busy day to share with us on this special day. It is truly a privilege of the faculty, staff, students, as well as the junior RTC cadets, along with our terrific band led by Ms. Campbell, our chorus led by Mr. Murray, as well as Roosevelt Elementary's choir led by Mr. Lucia, to present this program to you today. Today is a day that we celebrate and honor our American veterans, those that have served their country in both times of war and peace. I am the son of veterans, the nephew of a veteran, the son-in-law of a veteran, and the very proud father of two sons who are currently serving in the United States Army. Those that serve today face some very difficult challenges and are being called upon to deploy to some of the toughest places on earth. You see, although we may not hear about the current fight in Iraq and Afghanistan, for many families, our loved ones who are serving provide us with a daily reminder. And this ceremony will pay a special tribute to those serving in our military today. Many Americans mistakenly believe that Veterans Day is a day America sets aside to honor American military personnel who have died in battle or as a result of their wounds sustained in combat. However, that's not quite true. We celebrate that day or we honor those on Memorial Day. Veterans Day, on the other hand, honors all American veterans, both living and dead. In fact, Veterans Day is largely intended to thank living veterans for their dedicated and loyal service to their country. Our veterans understand, and those that have served understand, the meaning of the words duty, honor, selfless service, courage, integrity, and respect. Each year, on the 11th of November, the American people pause to recognize our veterans who served across the years. We also offer special thanks to those who still walk among us. Approximately 19 million of our fellow citizens carry the title of Marine, Soldier, Airman, Sailor, Coast Guardsman, National Guardsman, and Reservist. And they know and they now carry the title of veteran. We know them as neighbors, friends, colleagues, family members, and they make us all proud to be Americans. Today we have veterans in our audience who served during times when our free world was at grave risk. Men and women of the greatest generation stepped up to fight for our freedoms on the deserts of Africa, the plains of Europe, and the islands of the Pacific. They fought to preserve our way of life and instill in future generations the ideals of freedom, patriotism, and perseverance. The war did not end the need for America to protect and defend their allies. Once again, our greatest generation answered the call to fight on the Korean Peninsula. From mountaintops and ridgelines, our forces fought to prevent the spread of communism, and although this conflict has been called the Forgotten War, those that served are never forgotten. A decade later, during trying times, young men and women took on one of the greatest challenges our armed forces have been faced with. Fighting in a far-off place in a war that was by no means popular, this war took place in a country called Vietnam. And this war produced a generation of warrior veterans who understand the price of war, and more importantly, the price of freedom. And for this, we are forever grateful. September 11th, 2001 changed the world in which we live. When our homeland was attacked, once again young men and women answered the call to serve and deploy to far-off places to defend the freedoms that we enjoy as Americans. In Iraq and Afghanistan, the newest greatest generation has fought to bring democracy to countries that have not understood what freedom stands for. The ability to vote, to go to school, to speak your mind, to raise a family. Whenever and wherever this service took place, our veterans have earned our nation's respect. And from the day they first put on their uniforms until this very day, we honor them. Our veterans share fundamental values. They took an oath to serve a cause greater than self-interest. They live by a code and dedicate themselves to the highest standards of discipline and loyalty, diligence and faithfulness to duty. You know them. They're your grandfathers, your grandmothers, your fathers, your mothers, your sisters, brothers, cousins, and in some cases, our sons and daughters. And thanks to their service, the people of this great nation have lived in freedom for 240 years, and we owe them our liberty. At this time, we have a special presentation for our 19 million veterans who took that oath to defend our freedoms. Mrs. Weaver was in the first graduating class here at Cocoa Beach High School, and her class provided the Minuteman Bridge. Mr. Weaver served 4 years in the Army as an infantry officer and spent 40 years serving as a Foreign Service Officer with the Department of State on staff and contract. He and Ms. Weaver raised 4 children in 8 foreign countries and returned home to Cocoa Beach to retire in 2013. They are active in numerous veteran organizations across the county. Ladies and gentlemen, it's my privilege to present to you Mr. Don Weaver.
Thank you, Jim, very much for this honor to address all of you today. Actually, I should say, as a former Army captain, thank you, sir. I know that the veterans who are here today wish they could be here instead of me. I represent them, and I represent all 19 million veterans alive today in the United States of America. American veterans have paid a price throughout our history, but we've also been rewarded. Veterans have helped to give us America, that we can live in America and raise our families in America and watch our children and grandchildren grow in America is worth the price of sacrifice that veterans have paid. The Department of Defense lists about 1.2 million Americans who have died in combat since the Revolutionary War. Millions and millions have served. Nearly a million have been gravely wounded or died as a result of combat and non-combat military wounds. Yes, America's veterans are from a special cloth. Remember that every American veteran, those that are on active duty today who will become veterans, that every one of them since 1983 has raised their hand, has taken an oath. They have not been told to go. They have said in that raising of the hand to protect our country, if not me, who? If not now, when? They had many other choices. Active service members of today, who will be tomorrow's veterans, number less than 1/2% of our population of 330 million. Talk about elites. They are a special group. World War II ended with a treaty, and World War I ended with a treaty signed in France, Versailles, the 11th hour of the 11th day of the 11th month of 1918. It was to be a war to end all wars, but that treaty brought neither peace nor did it share a world vision that would lead to peace. Later, the United States decided that same date would be set aside to honor veterans, eventually declaring it as a national holiday, Veterans Day. This Friday is your Veterans Day, and I want you to think as you sleep in or do something else fun that you are going to also remember veterans. I can't see you raise your hand, so I won't ask you to. But I will say, if you have a mother or a father, a grandfather or a grandmother, or know of relatives in your family that are still there with us, call them. Thank them for the service. Thank them for their part in making America what it is today. They'll be pleased, surprised, and they will appreciate what you did. Veterans who, like all forebears since 1776, have also done something else. They signed a personal check made out to the American people. To the American people. We serve our country, not a government, not an individual, unlike many other countries. But to the American people, the check was made out up to and including their lives. They have not always been treated fairly. They have not always been honored in that commitment or that service. Your presence here and this school's effort to have a tremendous Veterans Day ceremony shows that we are not and will not go backwards as a nation in how we honor the veterans of our country. We must honor the men and women who risk so much as they go forward to protect our country. Our veterans join, whether drafted or enlisted in history, to put service to country, family, friends, and their military comrades, the person on their left or right, to put that above self. self. That dedication and sacrifice has in large measure helped make America the best country in the history of the earth. And I'm not biased on that. I have been, as you heard, in over 100 countries. I promise you, you are living in the best country in the history of the earth. Because I am an American, I have been blessed in my personal life. I've been able to raise my family. Jeannie and I have been married for 46 years. We were married here in Cocoa Beach, not far down the road. And we have always come back here to enjoy many, many different things. I am the father of 4 terrific children, 2 of whom are veterans, one of whom fell in combat in Afghanistan. As an Army officer for 4 years and service in 40 more in foreign service, I realized that what we as a country can give the world in terms of both our veterans and what we as a people represent can be responsible. We don't often realize this, but since the Spanish-American War, the United States has fought in many wars, has seized a lot of territory, but has always turned it back. We are not an aggressive nation that so many have tried to become. I can tell you that no other country compares to America, and I want to live the rest of my life in no other place than Brevard County. For a moment, I'd like to take it off with a linkage. Veterans have a link to first responders, to law enforcement personnel, the Brevard County Sheriff's Office, the police of Cocoa Beach, the firemen, the first responders, ambulance personnel, people that will protect you and me here. Because veterans protect us abroad, first responders protect us here. Many first responders are veterans. We brought the fight to the enemy abroad so that the enemy would not reach here. First responders make sure you live in an environment that you can be comfortable and safe and happy. We are from the same cloth. Ladies and gentlemen, in case there is a sheriff officer here or somebody in law enforcement or first responders in the audience today, please join me. A round of applause for our first responders of Brevard County. The Veterans Administration lists 69,700 veterans as residents of Brevard County. By population ratio, it is among the top 10 counties of veterans in the entire country. There are 43 military-related organizations of Brevard which have chapters or posts with thousands of collective members. Many are here today. It was great to see so many veterans come and join us today. From those veterans eligible for such things as the honor flight, which takes World War II and Korean War veterans to Washington, many in the case of the first time, to see the memorials that were long, late, recognize their valued service, to the veterans that are in the audience today who are still serving and wondering when or if they'll get out. We hope they stay as long as possible in service to our country. Any veteran in need in Brevard can get help from many Brevard-based organizations, ranging from the VA to the Cape Canaveral National Cemetery, federal, state nonprofits, the Veterans Memorial Center, where I also volunteer. It's no accident the veteran homeless population in Brevard County has come down 60% in 2 years. 380 veterans were listed as homeless not long ago. It's down to 60. What's so special about Brevard are many events like the one today. Many are sponsored by other than veterans organizations. Again, my thanks to Cocoa Beach High School for being a leader in having a very special ceremony in that regard. Tomorrow, some of you will not sleep in. Tomorrow, Cocoa Beach High School's magnificent Minuteman Band will be at the Veterans Memorial Center and play in our Veterans Day ceremony there and in the grand opening of a brand new new 6,000 square foot museum, an 82-acre Veterans Memorial Park, a library that has 50 video stories by World War II veterans all ready to watch and understand what they did, and a Veteran Support Center, where we will do the best we can in here in Brevard County to represent veterans and to remind Americans what the veterans have done all year round. Thank you, Cocoa Beach High School. ROTC will be there with Color Guard and many others. We will see you tomorrow again with much happiness. Let me close by saying something very straightforward. When we retired in 2014, we realized an axiom of most veterans organizations would describe us. Service for any veteran does not stop after he or she leaves the military. So, as members of several veterans organizations in Brevard, I am proud to represent the many veterans of our country and tell you about a special project that will be coming on hand tomorrow. I hope many of you, the grand opening lasts all day, free food in the morning, food and drinks all day. It's a chance to really see something over there very special. But again, I say it is my honor to represent all of you who are veterans and in active service for our country up here today and say, God bless the United States of America.
Mr. Leader, thank you for your inspiring words, and on behalf of the Corps Cadets, the faculty, staff, and students at Cocoa Beach Junior High School, we would like to present you with a small token of our appreciation. Thank you, sir. Now we would like to recognize our veterans by the era and conflicts and wars in which they served. First, would all the veterans of World War II please stand and be recognized? Would all the veterans of the Korean War please stand and be recognized? Would all veterans of the Vietnam War please stand and be recognized? Would all veterans of the Cold War please stand and be recognized? Would all veterans of Desert Storm in Panama please stand and be recognized? Would all veterans of Afghanistan and Iraq please stand and be recognized? Would all Cocoa Beach Junior Senior High School faculty or staff who are veterans please stand at this time? We would also like to recognize all the active duty personnel in attendance at this time, many of whom are combat veterans having served in multiple theaters on more than one tour of duty. A special thanks to our active duty personnel. Also present are members of the National Guard and Reserve who have logged many months on active duty, often overseas for extended periods of time. Would all those individuals currently serving please stand and be recognized? Students, would all of you who have a family member actively serving in the military also please stand? We would like to thank you for their service. High School band director, will now lead her band in the playing of a salute to our armed forces. If any of you have a relative who have served in the Coast Guard, Air Force, Navy, Marines, or Army, please stand when that service anthem for that branch of service is played. The first service recognized is the Army with the Caisson song. Our United States Army is represented by Sergeant First Class John Rodriguez from the United States Army Recruit Command, and the Army flag is presented by Cadet Aislinn Dennis.
Light up the trumpet.
The next service recognizes the Coast Guard with Semper Paratus. Our United States Coast Guard is represented by Bosun Main Third Class Jake Blatz from Cape Canaveral Air Station, and the Coast Guard flag is presented by Cadet Ethan Goswick. Cadet Jonathan Perrin. Our nation's colors are presented by our very own Junior RTC Color Guard. Thank you to the band and to all of you who stood to be recognized for each of our great branches of the armed services. Now I would like to share with you a very special recognition that military organizations partake in, especially during formal dinners. It is called the Missing Man Table, and it is represented by the table located to my front. I would like again to dedicate this year's Missing Man Table to the 4 Cocoa Beach High School graduates who gave the ultimate sacrifice while serving our country. They are memorialized on our campus with their headstones resting by our flag on the north end of the football field. They are Army First Class Richmond Lucy, who perished in the Republic of Vietnam on May 29, 1967. Chief Warrant Officer 2, Billy Dean Pettings of the U.S. Army, perished in the Republic of Vietnam on the 15th of June, 1971. Major Alfred Lee Butler of the United States Marine Corps, who perished in Lebanon in the 1980s. And Lieutenant Mike Hardcastle of the United States Navy, who perished on the 30th of August, 1984. The profession of arms is filled with symbolism, and this table is our way of symbolizing the fact that members of our profession are missing from our midst. Most people call them prisoners of war or cite them as missing in action, but we call them comrades. They are unable to be with us here this morning, and so we remember them. The table setup is very specific, with meaning in each detail. The table is round to show everlasting concern for the men still missing. The cloth is white to symbolize purity of the motives when answering a call of duty. There is a single rose displayed in a vase to remind us of the life of each of the missing and their loved ones and friends who kept faith and wait for answers. A slice of lemon is placed on the bread plate to remind us of the bitter fate of those captured and missing in a foreign land. There is also a pinch of salt on the table to symbolize the tears endured by those missing and their families who seek answers. A Bible is placed on the table to represent the strength gained through faith. And the glass is inverted to symbolize their inability to share in this morning's ceremony. Lastly, the chair is left empty to symbolize those that are missing. Surrounding the Missing Man table are 2 cadets who represent the future of our military. Our military is made up of young men and women who strive to be leaders. Young troops start their career in our military by enlisting with the goal of becoming senior non-commissioned officers, always leading and caring for our soldiers, Marines, airmen, sailors, and Coast Guardsmen. Cadet Sergeant First Class Trevor Cummings represents those troops. Cadet Cummings has enlisted into the United States Army and will be attending Army basic training at Fort Benning this upcoming summer. Our officer corps is comprised of special men and women who take on the challenges of leadership by becoming commissioned officers. They are college graduates that strive for leading and managing large organizations in both peacetime and during conflict. Cadet Lieutenant Colonel Corinne Britton, who is a member of this year's graduating class, represents our future officer corps. Cadet Britton plans on attending the United States Naval Academy this summer upon graduation. Please, let us all stand and pause for a moment of silence to honor all those veterans who could not stand with us today. Following the moment of silence, taps will be performed by the Minutemen trumpeters Sam Redden and Nathan Cole. Ladies and gentlemen, this concludes our ceremony. I want to thank you for your respectful attention. Also, special thanks to the choirs, band, Mr. and Mrs. Weaver, and especially to all of our veterans who are in attendance today. Hey, thank you.